Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like.
We also have this little thing called the podcast below in the description. Check that out.
Podcast brought to you by wineaccess.com/ham, 20% off.
Yeah, send some people some gifts right now. Wineaccess.com/ham.
John, we have a matchup for the Big Time and Big Sky Moonlight Basin, Big Sky, Montana. The match, you told me it was maybe the match 6. Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady against the scientist and the Jeopardy host, as Brady called them, Bryson, DeChambeau, and Aaron Rodgers. This is perfect timing for this build-up here. If somehow you told me Koepka was involved, I'd start thinking golf was WWE.
Yeah, let's see. We had the Tiger Phil match. That was for like $11 million that I think Phil won. We had Tiger, Phil, Brady, Peyton in the rain, remember? When Tom hit it in the hole.
Yep.
That was pretty sweet.
And tore his pants.
And tore his pants, and Peyton has the most wicked hook. Then we had the match with Steph Curry, Charles Barkley, whose swing is fixed, Peyton and Phil. Phil has been the stalwart. I think obviously Tiger got injured. And then this to me, Tiger Phil was just kind of boring. There just wasn't enough. It's hard for two guys to carry a bracket. When you have 4, I think the Peyton, Tom, Tiger, Phil was pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. Obviously with Tiger MIA, you could argue Bryson like if Tiger can't make it, you're going to add I think Rodgers is the right move. I mean, these two guys just played in the NFC Championship game. I mean, Tom's the best quarterback of all time. Rodgers probably won't win another one, but he's going to go down potentially as a top 5 guy. Like just those two guys alone is pretty unreal. Phil resurrected his career last weekend, and Bryson is just he's become part of it is just social media, whatever. We're fascinated by people that lift. We really are fascinated by people that lift. We have been. When I was a kid, Schwarzenegger was a big fucking deal. The Rock has become we are just fascinated with NFL big players.
People that are larger than life, right? Physically, truly outliers.
Yeah, I just think that Bryson would not have been that until he started pounding the weights. And, adding Rodgers, I think this thing could do a lot of views. I mean, we factor in one guy's demanding a trade, basically.
They couldn't have picked Aaron Rodgers. If you had done Aaron Rodgers last year, it would have been a big deal. But Aaron Rodgers, when he's the most in-demand athlete in America right now, in terms of can somebody spot him? Is he Sasquatch? Can we get a quote from him? Right? He's extremely in demand. Getting Aaron kind of to show up to something is what the Packers are trying very hard to do. It's hard to get him to. So that, and then Bryson, I'm with you. Bryson is the most fascinating golfer right now. He's must-see TV, even when he's not leading, because he's always trying to cut lines and play the game in a way that no one's watched it played before. And there's just a basic, someone who doesn't know golf, just like someone who doesn't know baseball, understood what it meant when Barry Bonds hit the ball in the water. You went, oh, that's crazy. You don't have to be to really get Bryson. You don't. And here's the other thing. This thing's at elevation, so Bryson might be hitting the ball 500 yards.
Oh, my God. Here's another element with Rodgers. It would be difficult if you had, a couple random golfers, even with some juice. And when I say random, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, they're not really probably going to be messing with Rodgers. Two guys whose give a shit level in terms of making people feel uncomfortable, Mickelson and Brady, which is a negative 100. They do not care. They are going to bring up Packers, trade. It is going to be some stuff that just goes viral. And I would say that most people wouldn't have the juice. Clearly, Tom's going nuts right now with memes. Phil will be right there with him.
Absolutely.
I mean, Phil is a degenerate NFL gambler. So he has, there could be some quotes in this that could be pretty funny. I mean, Phil there's a story at Firestone, or maybe it was the Memorial, where the feds were waiting for Phil about the insider trading that he did to pay off his gambling debts. And his gambling debts come from NFL and college football.
Yeah, not on golf course gambling debts. Those people are – there's no that bookie – first of all, he
betting $1 million on the Chargers Raider game. That's what Phil does.
So speaking of betting, DeChambeau and Rodgers are the favorites. I like Mickelson and Brady in this event, John. I think Mickelson, even if he hadn't just won, I like him in type of match play. But I think the underrated part here,
Tom's not very good at golf.
No, but I think this whole thing's a little unnerving. And I think we saw it with Tom it's just really unique. We saw it with Tom the last time. It's just really unique. Now that he's done this before, this specific event, I think it's pretty weird. I would imagine if you're in it, even if you're these guys, it's pretty weird. And so I'm going to lean with Brady and Phil here as the underdogs, just because I think Tom will be a little better because he's been through this thing. And so I'm going with Brady and Phil.
I like the logic. Phil's completely numb to it, right? He's done it every single time. Bryson's going to be trying to put on a show. He might hit one to Idaho. And Rodgers, I watched him a little bit a couple years ago at the AT&T Pro-Am. Like, he's actually, I would imagine he's better than Brady at golf.
Yeah, his swing looks a little bit, his arms extend a little early, but,
We get some lessons. I don't know. Is he in playing Wailea or Kapalua?
Kapalua, gotta be. Actually, I saw Kaylee Teller posted a few photos from Kapalua. So
this is going to get some eyeballs. This is I would imagine the people, Capital One, and the people behind this feel pretty good about their forces.
Yes. Could we get John all of a sudden a third grouping announced? Brooks and Gutekunst, maybe. It's a great idea.
That would be incredible.
Bryson tweeted that at Brooks. So Brooks tweeted Aaron Rodgers, "Sorry, bro," and Bryson said, "It's good to be living rent free in your head."
Okay, the story came out a couple months ago, maybe a little less than that, about PIP, and there's a $40 million fund to pay the top 10 guys. So these guys understand. I think Koepka's no dummy. He's associated himself with Barstool, even though Koepka's one of the best players. Barstool would want to talk to him, right? But he knows what he's doing. And Bryson YouTube videos, again, I don't blame any of these people for doing this. It's a smart move. It'd be a smart move with no PIP. Are you afraid? Are they leaning into the PIP, or is this real? Because Koepka's facial expression with Todd Lewis, you can't fake that. That was not fake. You agree there?
I agree, but I'm beginning to wonder. I am beginning to wonder once they start tweeting at each other. Because you know what I thought of today?
But if this guy keeps talking shit about you, if you don't like him,
I know.
Eventually, if you're
right.
Bryson, you got to draw a line in the sand, right?
That's the beauty, again. There's so many advantages to an individual sport, right? No one can come out and be like, we really wish Bryson would just keep quiet. It detracts from the team. There's none of that. So you can do whatever you want, and it's.
We've had talks with Bryson. We would like, maturity.
Yeah,
we're working
say
on
that. Puma, DraftKings? No, they love this. But I did have the thought. I remember you and I having a conversation back in our early radio days about how, if we were both, wouldn't it be fun if you're a pro athlete to just have a fake beef with another pro athlete just to mess with everybody who, makes too much out of everything in the media and the fans and all that, and just to have some fun behind the scenes. You start, you're texting with each other, calling each other God, we really got these people tricked. I don't think that's what this is, but I'm with you. There is some element here where these two guys, I don't know if it's quite about knowing that it's good for the sport, but it is great for both of their brands. It is great, especially because now they're both involved. It's not one-sided. It's not, and no one's going
That's a good tweet from Bryson.
It's a great tweet from Bryson.
Did you watch Bryson's YouTube?
I did.
I could see this. Bryson's pretty nerdy at heart, of course. I mean, obviously, you just have to, if you just followed his career. He does have a couple hype men that are just, where Brooks is just with Jenna. Brooks has got a pretty little small circle and his brother. I could see Bryson's hype men. Or do they live in his house? I don't really know what they do.
It's not clear to me. Were they walking that thing that was was he building a new house? Is that the thing they were doing a tour of?
No, his property. I think that's his training facility.
Okay,
I think.
Okay.
It's going to be a weight room. He lit up talking about the weight room and a simulation.
Gotcha.
So I think it's a training, swing speed. He got very excited whenever he go to his property.
Yeah.
So I think his hype man, if I was his hype man, I would be fuck this guy. So I do. It's not they're not going to fist fight, but I could see Bryson's hype man screw this guy, and then maybe Brooks. It's got a chance. It's only really scratched the surface.
It has the potential to be if it's if it has staying power.
These are the two best.
Here's the thing:
two of the best four Americans. I mean, these are two elite players.
If they're gonna lean into it like this on social media, then they should not shy away from the PGA pairing them together in the first rounds of big tournaments, or any tournament for that matter, right? Like, they may not want to play together, but if we're going to lean into it, fellas, for the PIP money, then let's lean into it. And let's you don't cash it in until you really put them on TV together. So let's cash 100%.
It in. I don't think you can underestimate a big Torrey Pines, maybe East Lake, wherever, putting these two together, the crowd, like what we had with Phil and Brooks was pretty special, right? The crowd, it was awesome. Like part of the viewing experience was obviously Phil winning the major, but the power of the crowd, I noticed it last night in the Suns game. I was like, God, I'm more into this basketball game than I have been in 2 years, partly because there's a crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd guy would be, because who are these two playing to? The 28-year-old that's going to be drinking and screaming. Like it would have some juice. You're right. If you don't lean into it, then what are you doing? What's the point of all this, right? I mean, you guys are trying to grow. You're trying to print more money as an organization. These two guys are going to grow. Now, if you've just played golf, there is a focus element. You're like, well, could I just put me with Rory or DJ, right? They would. But like, hey guys, like this is part of the deal. Like we put Tiger and Phil together back in the day.
You just don't capitalize on this until you play them together. Like all of this stuff, everything around sports to build up matchups eventually have to conclude with the matchup occurring.
Yeah, I'd play them together every tournament they were in.